Good afternoon, ladies and gents. It's the 16th of August, 2024. This is going to be a very short session. Thank fuck, I hear some of you saying. It's going to be short discussion because this is just not really being talked about at the moment. Because quite frankly, no one knows anything about it. It's new to me. It's new information I've kind of picked up. But, it's information I was kind of interested in, sort of, to a certain degree anyway. I've said it in a number of my videos that there are certain people out there. They're walking through life with their bubbles on their heads and, heads up their asses or faces glued to screens on social media and all that bollocks. And others are just simply, I don't know, refusing to accept that anything bad is going to happen that would affect them and sort of affect them or their families. So for those people that have no idea what the hell's going on outside of their hometowns or villages, I'm not sure how you're going to get your heads around this one. I've also said numerous of times that I look for signs and signals that most of us probably wouldn't bother entertaining. And I work along the lines of logic and facts. Whilst we've all been sort of online, talking about the war and conflict happening on the ground, none of us have really been paying attention to what's been happening above our heads. And do you know what that is? Because unless you can see it, it's not happening. Normality bias, bubbles on your heads, heads in the sand, or more like, heads in digital screens. Whatever that is, I'm just going to point out a couple of facts here that no one's really talking about. Again, guys, I'm just going to throw up a couple of slides. This is a short video session, so it's not going to take long. We have our good old friend Elon Musk out there on the political stage, saying his piece over the last few weeks in different arenas. He's sowing seeds of worry amongst the masses, with his brain implants. And the robot sort of nation that he's talking about sort of releasing at some site, sort of sometime soon in the very near future, actually. You've got his Tesla's cars, and the list goes on. I mean, he's got his fingers in all sorts of pies, but the branch of interest to me is this one, and that is SpaceX. Now, when I was growing up, I remember the odd NASA launch of the shuttle, and those are the televised ones, obviously. But of course, NASA was sort of sending up more rockets into space for various reasons, such as research, etc. And of course, everyone's heard of the Elon Musk sort of throwing up a few rockets into space for sort of various reasons. However, what I didn't know was the scale of these launches in terms of how many rockets are leaving the Earth's surface and making their way into space. Of course, that is fine. Also, as times change and technologies advance. But guys, I want you to just listen to the following. SpaceX consists of 8 platforms or branches or categories, however you want to sort of name them. And I'm just going to rattle through them. We're starting off with the less important one. When I say less important, it's the least important for this video or this discussion. Firstly, there is the SpaceX human space flight program, where people like you and I are just able to sort of take a trip into Earth's orbit, take a trip to the moon. I'm not sure anyone's taking a trip to the moon just yet. A trip to space, a space station, which I'm guessing it's not going to be the International Space Station. It'll be a space station that Elon Musk is probably building as we speak, or in the future, it's going to be trips to places like Mars. You also have the SpaceX, what they call Starship program. That's designed as a super heavy rocket, representing a full sort of it's a reusable sort of transportation system designed to carry both crew and cargo to Earth's orbit, the moon, Mars, and beyond. These rockets are capable of carrying a payload of up to 150 metric tons of cargo, I believe. But this is where it starts to get interesting. There is a SpaceX Falcon Heavy and other sort of cargo carrying rocket. It's capable of carrying 64 metric tons of cargo. Now, it's not the type of sort of cargo that comes into play here. It's these rockets have how can I explain it? They have sort of capsules attached to them, and they contain satellites that can be sort of deployed into orbit. So obviously, Elon Musk is doing that for his own Starlink satellites and other satellites. SpaceX has a branch also called Rideshare. That rideshare program allows the likes of me and you to use rideshare to take our own cargo up into space for as little as $300,000, depending obviously on the size of the load um, that you or I are wanting to sort of transport or sort of kick up into space. This is a kind of it's like a space transportation company moving products into space. So, again, it's something I didn't realize that they were doing. So long story short there, if we've got some kind of satellite that we want to stick into Earth's low orbit, then we would go to Elon Musk and just use his transportation service to, launch that satellite into space. They have a payload planning document. So the likes of me and you, we would be given this planning or the payload planning document that you can sort of see and understand sort of SpaceX standard services or pre-contract sort of details. So there's going to be things like mission planning and also customer requirements for rideshare launch services and all the rest of it. Now you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's cool, but what? Well, most of you will be at the very least aware of Starlink, the internet satellite service provided by Elon Musk. Some of you will also know, or now know, that many militaries are utilizing Starlink itself for combat operations, but that is not what I'm talking about here. SpaceX also has their Starshield program, which, you've guessed it, supports national security. This program is specifically designed for government use only, and it focuses on the following three areas. That is Earth observation, communications, and least but not least, hosted payloads. These three areas are what this discussion is really all about today. Observation satellites, well, we already sort of know, we know that those observation satellites are out there for intelligence services and military. Communication, as pointed out just now with Starlink, is going to be similar. It's going to be on a similar ground, but much more, I would sort of guess or expect, highly encrypted network of satellites for the military and government intelligence services and things like that. However, this is the one that I would be paying close attention to, and that's the hosted payloads. And that, ladies and gents, will be payloads such as military assets. Now, before you all go off on one saying, here he goes again, on on the 16th of May 2024 this year, some of you might remember the news headlines broadcasting that Moscow had launched a low orbiting satellite into space. Remember when I said that was the 16th of May, a couple of months ago? And it was being talked about that that satellite, that Russian satellite, was designed to attack other satellites in low Earth's orbit. There was also talk that there could have been an EMP attached to that satellite, but of course, that's all speculation, and we're never going to know. The piece of information I wanted to get across here is that up until March of 2024, SpaceX were launching up to 10 rockets or 10 rocket missions every single month since 2019, when they first started launching their rockets into space. So as you can see on the screen, these numbers, we're starting off at 2019, back in November, December. They had their first handful of launches. Then in March, no, not in 2019. So, right, you've got a steady flow of rockets being sort of launched from Earth into space over a period of, 2 or 3 years. But the area of interest here is 2024, obviously this year. Now, I said the 16th of May, did I say, when Russia launched their satellite? So what I wanted to point out here is in March of this year, that number jumps up to 14 launches into space during a single month. So that would have been March. And then April, there was 13, and then June, 14, and then it starts to drop back down. So what I'm trying to point out here is that those numbers in terms of the rockets going up into space increased by number, by a number of sort of three or four during the period that Russia launched its rocket or its satellite or whatever it was that was whatever that payload was. We're not going to know. But what I'm trying to say here is that this was the West's reaction to Russia potentially putting a satellite up into space that could take out other satellites, because that's what we're kind of assuming here. If you look a little deeper, you'll see that on the 28th of May 2024, SpaceX launched what they call the ESA Earth Care Mission, which is the Earth Cloud Aerosol and Radiation Explorer mission to low Earth orbit, a satellite designed to pick up radiation. And there were a couple of other sort of heavy payload rockets sent up to space over that 12-week period. So that 12 week that I've just pointed out there in column, that 2024 column. So over those 3 months, from March 2024 to June 2024. So before those those launch numbers came back down. And only today, believe it or not, it's the 16th of August. SpaceX launched another Falcon 9 rocket for the Transportation 11 mission, whereby the Taish military satellite traveled into Earth's low orbit. Now, on that, there was the UK Space Command satellite. So basically what happened is that the UK Space Command successfully launched its first satellite into space, which will be used to support military operations of the future for the British Armed Forces. That is, primarily this satellite will be used to strengthen the UK's intelligence, surveillance, and the ISR sort of reconnaissance capabilities. Well, what I'm trying to say here, guys, all I'm trying to point out, or my point is that there is definitely a space platform being prepared in the skies above our heads, ladies and gents. And I just really wanted to sort of point that out because I was sort of taken back by the amount of rockets that SpaceX or Elon Musk has launched since 2019. They've launched 375 rockets up into space. Yeah, so it says 374 there. It's 375 because one went today. They have had 339 of those return back to Earth. I'm not going to go into the whole SpaceX program and capabilities. Basically, they're putting rockets up into space and they're able to bring those rockets back down and self-land on the platforms that they took off in. Obviously, reusing that hardware and kind of cutting back on the space junk that's floating around Earth's orbit at the moment. But when you look at those numbers, those numbers are just huge to me. When the likes of me, from my era, compare them against the NASA, the sort of NASA launches back in the day. That's it. A short discussion. It's something that is going to come up on other channels, other news feeds and stuff like that. People are just going to shrug it off because they've got no sort of idea as to what that all means. I don't really. I've only really just kind of picked this up over the last month. I was interested when Russia sent their satellite or their rocket up on the 16th of May. I thought, what are they up to? And there was speculation there. And I thought, well, okay, what are we in the West doing to counteract that? And I was kind of looking for evidence. And I thought to myself, well, Elon Musk is really lively with sending up rockets into space. I wonder what he's really up to. Again, it's Starlink for your satellite internet services, both for commercial and non-commercial matters, intelligence, military, whatever. They've got there's lots of different sort of projects going on there. But anyway, I'm not going to go on. That's it. I just wanted to make you aware that yes, when Russia or China or whoever it is throws a rocket up into the into the atmosphere above our heads, you'll more than likely jump onto SpaceX's site and you'll see these numbers go up over that period because we're obviously counteracting whatever it is they're doing. Ladies and gents, just be aware that there are things floating around Earth's orbit, whether that's an EMP, whether that's a other kind of nuke or other, other payloads that we don't know anything about. As normal, just keep yourselves military fit and infantry aware.